whenever you are. This is Rican Reactions. I'm here today with my co-host, special guest actually for the Destroyers of Smoke, Joe BNCO. How are you, Joe?
Doing fantastic, Alex. How are you, sir?
Doing good. We were supposed to start at 8 o'clock today, but there was a church sermon, so we had to wait until now to start. So since we're here, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and all that jazz because it's supposed to have some fun right now. We're gonna have a nice little breakdown episode by episode and talk about not spoilers per the episode, some Easter eggs and things that we like. So let's just before we start, let's give our history of why we like Quantum Leap. So Joe, take it away.
I have been a fan of Quantum Leap since it first aired on NBC back in the 80s and 90s. I'm a big fan of Scott Bakula as an actor, and I really love the show. Dean Stockwell did an amazing job as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just really enjoyed the concept of the show. Leaping from life to life, saving, making right what once went wrong, and hoping that each time his next leap takes him home.
No, that is true. My connection was growing up in the 90s here watching television. And I wasn't really a fan of Quantum Leap. I didn't really get the concept until I was like around my mid to late teens. And then I really started liking it, understanding the concept. And then realizing like the fifth season, they went nuts. They just threw everything out the damn window and had fun with it. But in the end, Sam didn't come home because he subconsciously didn't want to come home. Cut to 30 years later, and ladies and gentlemen, episode 1, where we see that Ben, the main character, and Addison, the main character as well, are having a party with all their friends. Magic, Ian, and the security guard. I forgot what her name is, but I'll remember later on. And they're celebrating that the Pentagon gave the green light for the project, and they're on the way to do it. Addison and Ben, you find out that Ben is insular, very non-people person. And then as they separate their hands for the last time, you see that Ben went into the program, started it up by himself, put a brand new program in it that no one was expecting, and just was gone.
That was their engagement party as well.
That was their engagement party and the genesis for the Quantum Leap project. Like, we just got the funding. We're just gonna start doing the trials. Not really trials, but more in the sense of experimenting virtually to see where we can go from there. They were using the original the Ziggy program, but updated. But Ben, when he jumped in, put a whole bunch of code that they've never seen before. Cut to Ben in I think it was 1981 in New York. I think it was New York. Yeah, it was in New York, and he's a getaway driver. And again, he has memory loss, complete memory loss. So I'm gonna give you a nice little recap of the episode, and then we'll just talk about what we thought about it and the Easter eggs that we saw. Ben doesn't know who he is. Addison comes in and says, "Hey, you're Ben's song," but he doesn't remember what happened. He doesn't remember why he jumped in. The team in the future and the present are freaking out. They don't know what the hell's going on. Then in the end results, they find out that Ben was not there to save himself, but to save somebody else, which he did, and save someone's life. That person got the funding they need to help their wife who had cancer, and the daughter was not alone, which I love that. But Ben, at that moment until episode 2, had no memory of who the hell he was. That was episode 1, I'm pretty sure. Then we find that. What was your thoughts on episode 1 and any Easter eggs you saw, or highlights, lowlights?
I enjoyed episode 1. They did talk about Sam Beckett and how he never came home, and they did show a picture of Scott Bakula. They did reference Dean Stockwell, Al. They did show his picture, and they also ended the episode in loving memory of Dean Stockwell.
Yes.
Which I thought was very appropriate.
Exactly, which is sad because for me, the ending would have been good. That once like Sam found if this is someone calls this the Andrew Garfield, where Andrew Garfield kept saying that he wasn't going to be in the new Spider-Man No Way Home, and then he popped up at the end. So Scott Bakula might be doing a Andrew Garfield, just saying that he's not coming in, but to be a real surprise at the end. Because again, it was supposed to be only 12 episodes, not 13. Everyone's saying 13, but it was supposed to be 12 episodes, and they just extended it for 6 more. So now it's 18 episodes, not 19. A lot of people saying 19 because they thought 13, but no. 12
They
plus 6,
green
18.
they greenlit the bonus episodes, and I believe they greenlit the second season already.
Not yet. Not yet.
No,
People are hoping for a second season. Not yet. They're waiting. I think by the whispers, they're waiting to get to episode 8 to see if this thing can hold. Secretly, they're saying yes, but on like the low, they're waiting. That's what I'm looking for that too. Honestly, I'm in a lot of Quantum Leap groups. We're trying to get this Quantum Leap stuff out there. I know it's out there. All right.
we need it.
Episode 2. What happened in episode 2, Joe? Because I know episode 3 was the boxing one, and episode 4 was the bounty
Episode
hunter.
2 was the one where he leaped into the astronaut, shooting off into space in a rocket.
Exactly. That was actually pretty fucking awesome. Highlights of this, we get to know the history of Al. We find out about Janice. We find out that Addison was the one that was supposed to leap and not Ben. We also find
Ben was
out
supposed to be the hologram,
that Ben was supposed to be the hologram and Addison was supposed to be the
the
leaper.
leaper.
And she was adequately trained. She was adequately ready for it. She had everything: PTSD training, space training, math, all the likes. That's what I like about people say. We'll get to the critiques at the end of this review. I did like that they're starting off. People are again with the critiques. I did like the space episode where you saw a person's growth, a person that was trained by another space pilot who treated that person like a kid, but when it came to the crunching time, that kid stepped up and proved that mentor right and said, you know what, you're ready. So I did like that. And just go into space. And they're doing the Starman song. I think they were doing the Starman song, and you see just Addison sitting on top. That was the best part of the episode, where Addison is just sitting on top of the spacecraft, and she's like, "Damn, this is." I mean, I know I'm not here, but damn. I'm like, yeah. I mean, that's awesome. And people, and then at the end, Ben leaped because he saved everybody, and then she lingered on and whatever. And then we find out that the person that was connected that helped Ben was Janice because of the ring that Al. Okay. What was your thoughts on episode 2, ups and downs?
Loved it. The space episode, how they alter time, how everybody, first it was one person was supposed to die, and then because Ben avoided the space debris when he was doing the spacewalk to repair something, it caused more damage and everybody on the shuttle was going to die. And he actually got them convinced them to go to the space station, the Russian space station.
Yeah.
And because they did that, they saved everybody. Repaired the ship, saved everybody, and it was a definitely damn good episode.
Changed timeline completely because what we're seeing from the first episode and from the second episode is that once he fixes time, because Sam, when he fixed time back in the day, they were big effects, but not so much of big effects. Just small things that would help people in the long run. First episode, the guy helped the guy get the money for the cancer, and it got more bigger and got a big outcome. This one, he was supposed to die. Was huge. He was supposed to die, and then he didn't die, and he helped a bunch of people in Earth. By the time when he went back, whatever Ben. This is the question for you, Joe. Up until episode 3, what did you think Ben's plan was? Because again, these are big consequences of time, not small ones, but big ones.
What did I feel like his outcome, his reaction was going to be?
What was his game plan up until episode 3? Okay, because that's a question I wanted to ask you. Before you saw episode 3, what do you think Ben was really trying to do? Because again, he's doing big things, but from the small perspective.
I mean, he's doing whatever he has to. He's listening to everything Addison tells him to do.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that she's guiding him in the right path. But he doesn't feel that she's wrong.
But it's not the path that Addison picked. It's the path that Addison has to look at because Ben put the new code.
It is. Now, he's just trying to fix everything as he goes, but time is trying to alter itself. Every time he fixes something, it's trying to change itself.
Yeah.
Which can go into something completely different angle that we've talked about.
Exactly. No, that's true. That's true. And that's the thing. We got to talk about that when we get there. Now let's get to episode 3. One of my favorites.
Episode 3, I will tell you this. Episode 3, folks, is a game changer because something happens that is not supposed to happen in the Quantum Leap timeline. And I am so happy that the scientists of the Quantum Leap program even said, hey, this isn't supposed to happen. He's not supposed to be able to do this.
And we'll get to that in a second. After he leaped from the space, he leaped inside the body of a boxer.
And get punched in the face.
And got put like not like a bunch of times. I was doing my job, coach. Like, no, you're fine, man. He's got his ass beat up.
I saved the space shuttle. Bop, bop, bop,
exactly.
Bop.
And got his ass beat hard. This was a very cool episode because, again, Ben had to conquer some things like Sam used to have to do. Ben's a right-hander. The boxer that he jumped into is a left-hander. Ben has never boxed before. He had to learn how to box. We learned about PTSD back in the 70s where there was no treatment. There was nothing like that. They just came back more. And again, this is real things that people came back from Vietnam and there was no treatment for them at all. They just said, okay, well, you survived the war. Deal with it. There's a thing called heroin. Figure that out. You know, and that really messed people up. So I love and again, I'm a subject of PTSD myself. So I love that they touched on that. You know, people calling him a baby killer because he went to Vietnam. He didn't choose to do that. But I did like the aspects of Ben having a photographic memory, so he learned how to shadow box. Ben realizing that you're Ben, but you're in the body of a boxer. So whatever punch you think you're doing is not the equivalent strength of what the boxer is. So you're gonna hit a lot harder than what you expect. And during the boxing match, I did like he did a little Superman punch. He didn't jump. He kind of like the little quick Superman punch. Like, oh, that's legal in the 70s, but I guess it was.
I thought it was like the little Mac punch-out punch a little bit.
Just,
the star punch.
Yeah. Doom, doom, doom. He went with it. We also find out that he had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was the girlfriend of the opposing person he had to fight in the main event. That was crazy. Addison got really pissed off, but then we see the concept that we didn't really see an Al side back in the old days in Quantum Leap, and which was fatigue on the side of the projector, not the side of the leaper. And Addison's going super, super hard and just passed out. You know, and then she's in the hospital with Magic. Magic's like, hey, you gotta chill out, you know, relax. And again, what we see on the show is that maybe an hour or two has passed in the show, but reality in the show is maybe days. Ben could be there for days, and Addison's like up for hours doing his own freaking thing. So that was pretty cool. In the end, he won the match. He switched it up at the last second. He switched back to right hand and confused him and won. The guy got the girlfriend. The brother who he was trying to save, which was the reason he was leaping, made a PTSD clinic for everybody in the early 80s. Made a clinic for PTSD that grew statewide in the 80s, when the 80s were fucked up as it is. So that's a big fucking thing. Your thoughts on episode 3?
Loved it. I loved episode 3, and what we're gonna talk about, I'm sure, but the leaping part.
Yes.
You said what year he leaped into? Was 1970s.
1977, and the law of Quantum Leap was that you can only leap your own lifetime. For example, I'm born in 82, so I can never leap before 82. Not even before the month I was born. It has to be the day after I was born and above. Maybe even the day of.
And he was born in 84.
Exactly. And when I said that too, he's like, oh, he's only 2 years younger than me. So knowing that, again, Ben from episode 1 put a whole bunch of new code in that Ziggy does not understand, which freaks the Ziggy out. Then finding out on top of that, that Janice is secretly, again, this episode was about the boxing, but again, it was about Janice. They figured out where Janice was. They went to one of their hideouts. The hideout blew up because she's freaking psychotic.
She
And but
booby trapped it.
she booby trapped it, but again, psychotic too.
But they got the hard drive out.
Again, yep, that's right. They got the hard drive. Oh, we won something. Boom. This is the part that's going to be controversial. A lot of people on a lot. Again, we're going to talk about this right now. Janice goes back to Beth because Magic went to Beth before to find out where Janice was. I don't know. I haven't seen her in a year since her dad died. The second the dad died, she's like, "Vámonos. Let's out of here. No more." Which that means there's something deep seated in that. Maybe resentment. We're just from that encounter. Janice comes in.
Thoughts.
I know. We'll get to that point right now. Janice gets to Beth, and you get a revelation. Janice always wanted to continue her father's footsteps because she wanted to bring Sam home. Of the promise that Al made to Sam. Of the promise that we realized that we know Janice and Al and Beth without Sam. There just would not be. That's the purpose of it. Sam's second to last jump was that, to help his friends. And he did that on his own consciousness. I believe time kind of how do you say, not tricked him, but did a penalty. He's like, "Oh, you did something for yourself," which is greedy in a sense. So, there's going to be a consequence to that, Kind of like what John Constantine did when he tried to rewrite history. He did do a right thing at the end, but he had to take the consequence by it. He forgot about it. What? Either way, I'm cross-promoting here. Now, Janice finds out that Beth did not believe that her daughter was smart enough to figure it out. When literally she tells us, and to everybody who's watching, "I'm one of the smartest astrophysicists in the world." So if he would have had the help from the Pentagon, it probably would have worked. But again, we don't know why. We know why. Beth told Magic, "No, I don't want her in." So Magic didn't bring her in. So what did Janice said? Like Janice said, "You know what? I want Dad's stuff from the project. I want out." "No, you can't have it." I'm like, well, hey, how's your drink?" "What the fuck?" Boom, and she went down. Now, we talked about this in the private in our own little homes, but we get to say it here. Up until that point, where Janice knocked out her mom, got the hell up, and left, to that point, what was your thoughts on Janice's motivations?
I told you, I feel because of how her mother treats her like an adopted child.
Yep.
Her mother doesn't treat her like a daughter. Her mother doesn't treat her like her own blood. I have this odd feeling that Janice is either Sam's daughter or Addison's daughter, which is Addison would be Sam's daughter. Somehow, Sam is connected to those two girls.
Yeah, but Janice and Addison are about the same age. That'd be like really weird.
Are you
about
sure?
The same age. Yeah, because freaking Al was really old. He saved, like Sam saved him in like the early, like Vietnam was like 70 something. So he probably had Janice around like 81, 80, maybe 78, 80. Because again, he came back from the war, and the Vietnam War ended around 74, right? 74, 75? Around that time?
So my original game plan was that Addison is Sam's daughter.
So Janice has to be my age, around 40 or around 35. Between 35 and 40.
Okay,
and Addison,
if that's the case, then I'm sticking with my original assumption, which is Janice is Sam's daughter. And Al, because if everybody remembers the old show, Sam and Al had this leap where they crossed bodies. Yeah. And Al became the leaper and Sam became the hologram. So he got to go home. The one and only time he got to go home. And he got to see his wife, and they slept together in the episode.
Yeah.
Because they were laying in bed naked and under the covers or whatever. Yeah. And he had an epiphany, and he went back to fix it. I believe she got pregnant when he went home.
Yeah.
They never said anything about it.
No,
I believe she got pregnant, and she died not long after that.
You sure?
If you
Because
remember.
they're talking about Britain. They're talking about. Because I've listened to a lot of shout out to the Quantum Leap podcast on Podbean. Other than the female host who ironically has a channel on YouTube like hyping up all of Quantum Leap, but since Quantum Leap have started, she's just been shitting on it. Like, no offense to you, whoever, if you ever hear this, but you are counterproductive to what you are on YouTube than what you are on Podbean. That's weird, but that's just me. They don't like people don't want to bring Sam's daughter because it's kind of like a icky. It was kind of an icky storyline. I revisited it. I was like, the writers kind of like stuck that in for like just for something. But again,
but it would make sense.
It would.
It would make perfect sense because why would a mother resent her daughter as much as Janice Beth is against her daughter, against Janice? Yeah.
Something must
she resents her.
Yes, something must have happened between Al dying and before that.
Because, I believe Al agreed to adopt Janice, and once Al died, Janice became obsessed with the program. And she saw the same thing happening to her daughter. Well, same thing happening with Janice that happened to Sam and Al, and they got obsessed with it.
My theory is that Al lived his life after Sam helped him, right? First 20 years. Lived his life, still had Sam in the back of his head, but still lived his life. Then the resentment of you're living your life and your best friend who gave you your life is still out there forever. And again, Al, one guy in the podcast bring it up. No one knows that Sam chose to stay in time except Sam. No one knows that. Al doesn't even know that.
Al never gave up on him, though. He kept all his stuff.
But Sam never told Al, I'm staying. He never told, like, Sam was the only one that figured out, like, I can jump home whenever I feel like it, but he never told anybody else. So Al just kept looking for Sam without knowing that Sam basically chose to stay. That kind of, like, I realized that, like, watching part 4. I'm like, Sam kind of fucked up Al in the long run.
I need to go back to episode 1.
What?
Because I believe they said something about Sam's wife dying in episode 1.
We'll find out about that, ladies and gentlemen. Joe BNCO is the Easter egg hunter, honestly, of anything these days.
When they showed the clip, the newspaper article with Sam's picture, I believe they had said something about his wife passing away.
We'll take a little break from episode. Let's really delve into this because we have episode 4 left. And again, we're on YouTube. Please hit that like, subscribe, and follow and share.
Woo!
Now, and we're on Facebook on Coquito.Alex787. But at the same time, I want to say this. Do you feel bad that Janice did that? Yes or no? That's the question that a lot of people in Quantum Leap are like, I don't want to watch this anymore because Janice is too evil. Now, it's not black and white, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of gray.
And we don't know all the gray.
Exactly. We don't know.
You can't make a decision. You can't make a decision on whether he's good or bad or anything like that, or even on their justification of doing something, unless you know all of the answers. There's got to be a reason why she did it, because she doesn't seem like a manipulative person. She just wanted her dad's stuff. She wanted her dad's stuff.
Yeah, this is a prior. Well, I don't know if you are, spam. Let's keep going. Don't worry about it.
All right. So anyway, she is. She wanted her dad's stuff.
Yeah.
Her mom didn't want to give her dad's stuff, and that's fucked up. Dad's dead. I want my dad's things.
Yeah.
Because I need to see what he was doing.
But she was more conceited in that because she knew exactly what she wanted. She wanted what we're going to talk about at the end. Again, we just stopped at the point where she drugged her mother.
But she knew her mother wasn't going to give it to her. That's why she did it.
Yeah, she Batmaned it. She's like, this person's going to knock me off anyway and say no. So I'd rather just skip the no and go straight there. But again, she knew the exact time frame. All she had to do was like what she sat down and talked to her money. When she did that, that was for closure. She had to know was like, did you really believe in me, or did I really think I was going crazy in my head? But no, she didn't really believe in her own daughter. Her and like I said, that's the thing I was thinking about. At the later years of Al's life, he became more obsessed with about getting Sam back, which in turn his daughter saw that, which made her more obsessed to find Sam because it would make her dad happy and stop, you know, the friction between mom, dad, and daughter. That's what I think happened. Like it just his last years of his life, he's like, I gotta find Sam, I gotta find Sam. And his wife's like, it's over, you'll never find him, it's gone, he's lost. Because again, in part 4, a particular person says something. So let's continue now from part 3 and let's keep
Now
going. From
they
part
did
3,
say they did
yes.
say that Al searched for Sam up until even when they were trying to shut it all down, up until
Yes.
he was dragged out.
Yeah. So, like again, that was in the 90s. That was in the 90s. So he had his wife in the 70s, had a kid around the 80s. The kid's around like 14 or 15. The project gets shut down in 95, 99. Because, well, not well, 89, because they said 30 years. So 82, more or less, well, 92, yeah, in 82. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's the time
92.
frame.
92.
92, 92. So yeah, so they shut it down in 92. So from 92 to up, he already has a kid, already has a wife. So I think from 92 and up, he just became obsessed, and his whole his child saw his obsession with Sam for 30 years. So Janice might be 30 plus. 30 plus as a child, plus Sam's obsession, Beth's resentment, and then probably the resentment of knowing that I have a child because of Sam, and
And
Al never lets it down.
let's not forget one key important piece you're forgetting about that last episode before we move on.
Before we move on,
She she has Ziggy. She has the comm link from the original show.
and she has a connection.
Yes, she has Al's original comm link. And the reason when they took that hard drive was kind of a play that she did on them, because she used that and Ziggy to be able to tap into the new Ziggy and to get all the information.
That's true.
From the new Ziggy.
And that
because she's smart.
Yeah, she's smart. And again, they said Ian, the techie, on the Quantum Leap project, said that Janice is in every system now, and if they take it down, it'll take weeks or months to start it back up and find Ben again. So they cannot turn off the system, because if they turn off the system, it'll wipe away Janice's connection to the system, but they'll probably lose Ben for a very long time,
if not forever.
Jumping, if not forever,
because he won't be able to leap. How's he going to be able to leap? So he'll probably miss his opportunity,
or find the instructions how to leap and then get stuck in a body forever. Again, we haven't gone to that system yet. We haven't gone to like the what if he doesn't do a leap. Like, does he stay in a body forever?
He's stuck.
Is that what Sam did? Sam's like, I'm not gonna do this good thing because I don't want to do it anymore. So he's just stuck in that point in time forever. And that point in time, we don't know if it's the time that continues or a point in time that's okay.
And they also talked about in this episode that Ben is leaping to someone or something to a point in time.
Yes.
They did point that out. They said he has a destination.
Yes.
They said that he is leaping towards something, towards a certain point in time, and they don't know where.
Yeah. They don't know where or when, but they know it's again part 4. Part 3 they explained it more, that Ben is trying to do sort of a slingshot method to get from one point and get to all the way to the end point. Again, we don't know what the end point is, but there's an end point.
And he's already leaped out of his own timeline.
Exactly. Sam never had an end point. Sam was just going and going and going to the last episode till we realized I could have got home anytime I wanted. Exactly. So that's weird. But Ben, again, we're just speculating that if it is Sam. We don't know if it is Sam. Maybe because people are speculating as well. They're doing.
I'm saying it's fucking Sam.
I will be the devil's advocate and said it might be the Lothos um, storyline. That something in the future came back to the past and told Ben to tell Janice shit's about to go down. We have to prepare. Because why, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Hit that like and that share and follow and
Like,
welcome to
follow,
Weekend Reactions.
subscribe.
Thank you. And if you're on Facebook, please hit that share, leave a comment down below. Now we're at episode 4. This was a lore dump. A quick lore dump, but a badass lore dump. But before we get to the lore,
Big time.
Before we get to the lore, we'll get to the story. Which special guest star, which is one of your favorite characters on Blood and Treasure, aka Smoke and Treasure, on Tuesday, which that was pretty cool. I didn't recognize her until her accent started slipping up in the show. Your accent started popping out a little bit, that little British. But it was based on that Ben was in the body of a woman. And let's get this out the way. A lot of people saying that why didn't they, focus on the female side? Why didn't like Sam when he went in there? He was all like, "Wow, what's going on?" and all that stuff. They quickly talked about it. In my opinion, they quickly talked about it. They slid it under the rug. This is 2022. We're not, because again, you don't want this to age bad. You really don't want this to age bad. If you talk something about anything transgender in this time frame, 5-10 years later, it will bite you in the ass. So quickly, that their smart way was, hey, Ben Song, you're a woman. Oh, okay. Oh no, I don't have something. I'm wearing things that doesn't really feel weird. And then that's it. Whatever. That's it. What's your thoughts on that? That they really didn't talk about it. They put it out there, and that's it.
We are in the age of cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to hit too much on it.
Exactly.
Just a small amount and keep it moving. Because if you go too much on it, they'll try to cancel your ass real quick.
Mm-hmm. So
too many crybabies in this world.
No, I know, but again, a lot of people have the power of crybabiness to cancel it. But that's the way it is. We continue on. The story was based on that Ben was a bounty hunter, and the guy that she was with was gonna proposed. She said, "Just give it a second." And they were going after Tammy. Tammy was bail jumping because of a whole bunch of parking tickets. They pick her up. Then the freaking cartel comes out of nowhere and starts shooting at them, going after them. They're on a wild goose chase. He's still, and the fiance, the B, is saying, "Why won't you marry me? What did I do wrong? Was it this? This is that?" The dad of the bounty hunter woman's like, "Hey, you said you wanted to be happy." Ben was very kind of awkward around him because again he was trying to be like very sincere and romantic, but again it's Ben with a guy he doesn't even know, and the 80s songs back and forth throughout the whole episode were cool. A lot of 180 and another 80 song, another 80 song, very cliche, but it made sense. The twist of the story was the best part of this. That after they lose Tammy again, they find Tammy. And then they find out that it wasn't the guy. Like they were trying to find the boyfriend. I gotta find my boyfriend. I gotta find my boyfriend. They found the boyfriend, and we found out that Tammy is the boss of La Serpiente because there was a cartel after them, and she just killed them on right then and there. I thought they were gonna save him, but they killed him. Before I continue, other than the Vietnam episodes or war episodes, has there ever been like a violent death like that in Quantum Leap? I don't think so. Other than the Vietnam episode.
I don't believe so.
No, right? It's weird. It was really, really weird. I was like, damn, because someone bring it up in the Quantum Leap podcast. This has been the first time where you actually see someone die. No, like, and not once, like, bah, bah. I shot him like a couple times and then died.
Well,
I'm like, damn.
It makes sense with the reference that happened in this episode.
That's true. So that was pretty cool. All right. Second thing
that was probably an Easter egg.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I'll give you that. That was pretty cool. The other thing, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. The other thing I liked was once they figured everything out. Once they did the Tammy thing, and Tammy was trying to run away, and then we figure out her plan. She has so many parking tickets because she leaves her car at the Union Station and transfers drugs and monies to and fro from the cartel. Because again, and they made a good point. It's the I think it was like 81, 82, something like that. 80 no, it was 84. It's
It
84.
was the 80s.
It was the 80s. She
I'll
knew
tell you
that
what year it was.
she can't. I think it was like she said something like 84. She can't fly. She can't go in a boat back to Mexico. The
It just says
easiest is
80s.
is 80s, right? So the
It just
easiest
says
way for
80s.
her,
Yeah.
that's fine. The easiest way for her to get, to Mexico is to take a train. Take her briefcase, leave her car at the parking, go from one place to go from I think at Suarez, Texas, something like that, and then from there take another train to Mexico. And she was doing that for years. And I did like that Addison did say this. No one knows who the leader of the cartel was, but in 2022, the DEA thought that it was a woman. So Tammy survived all the way to 2022 as the cartel leader. That's pretty badass. That's early like badass shit. So I'll give you that. In the end, which was cool, they had the system where he say Christmas, which meant her take out the taser. She Ben tasered the briefcase that was full of metal, and she's like, "Oh, I got the gun," and they arrested her. And the thing I didn't like is that because Addison was like, "Do you want to know what happened with the boy and the girl and the father?" Nah, not really. And then Addison says, "Come on, Ben," which triggers. Which why I forgot about that throughout the whole episode. He tells Ben tells Addison, I've been like since I got punched the last time from the last episode. I've been getting this weird dream and like memory, but I can't see who the person is, and I love that person, but I don't know who that person is. When Addison said, "Come on, Ben," then the memory started getting clearer again and realized it was her. And then when he said, "I know it was you. I love you." That's off the fucking. He's gone now. Now let's say on the storyline. How did you like it before we get to the leaping stuff? How did you like the story?
I enjoyed the story. I thought it was a good story. I liked the subtleties and the Easter eggs and things like that to the episode. I liked the way they ended it. How he's like, "I love you," and then he leaps.
He's gone.
So there's no chance for her to even answer. It's like
Nothing.
she said she was just smiling at him, and she's said something, but it wasn't really much. And then he just leaped.
Yeah.
So she didn't have a chance to finish.
And it was something about the granddad. Oh, the granddads, and impart the story to the grandkids because like the dad becomes the granddad, and I guess the mother and the husband have like a bounty hunter business, so the granddad wants to impart the wisdom on the kids. Like it's some weird shit. Now
Now
let's get to the sci-fi stuff.
let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Now before we get to magic and everything else, we have to say the technical stuff.
That's
The
the
security
important
guard,
stuff.
the security guard person told Addison that we gotta check your life. We gotta check the last 6 months. Because we don't know when Ben 6 months ago told Addison that he was going to a conference, he didn't go to a conference, but he went to someplace else that might have been a safe spot for Janice. So 6 months ago, Ben hanged out with Janice with something. Now, once again, I think it's someone leaping into Ben and just, okay, I'll be back in 6 months. And then 6 months later, he leaps again. But again, that's my thing. Okay. We find out that Janice is using Ziggy to look into the four people that's in the program, which is Ian, Magic, Addison, and the security woman. And not to predict their past, to predict where they are now, but to predict their future. That's fucking trippy. Because again, Ziggy has never done that. Ziggy can predict the past and up into a logical point that what she thinks might happen. But Ziggy has never predicted the future from the present. So I do like that. That's pretty cool. Now we get to the point that Ian has said, hey, Janice is trying to get into different types of systems, and she's trying to get to classified files. Magic, you have a whole bunch of classified files in your stuff that I can't even get into yet until I get permission soon. And he's like, you know what? Let's take a walk. Which I thought, okay, he's gonna blackmail Ian or black bag him and disappear. I thought that.
His
Cut
name,
to his name is Ian.
his name, Magic.
Yes,
It sounded familiar from the first episode,
and he
and
kept
then
yeah
as the episode started going on, I was like, is he the guy? I was like, I'm gonna wait because they're gonna talk about it eventually. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm gonna wait.
No, and then I did like Ian saying when oh Magic's like, you remember I talked about when I was in Vietnam, and Ian's like, yeah, that's all you ever talk about. So he just literally said, like, Ian just put it out there, like, you always talk about Vietnam. That like, but then he brings up the story that he used to hang out with his platoon, and his commander used to call him Magic because he would have a sixth sense of knowing when stuff would happen, and he would always bring his platoon safe and his friends safe. Now, one day, he felt this nudge in his chest, and he described it as if there was a door in front of him, and someone was pushing the door forward, and he had the choice to let him in. So he let that person or power in. Cut to that he fades to black. Day and a half later, he wakes up, not knowing what the hell happened, and he found out that he saved his platoon, and he saved his commander, who named him Magic, and his commander's name was Tom Beckett, which was Sam's brother. So not only Magic saved Tom Beckett, he saved his whole platoon. Now, later on in life, when he became an admiral, he he heard rumors that his name was in this top secret science project in the 90s that he didn't know nothing about. He pulled some strings, found it, and found out, and everything made sense. Because after that happened, he would have dreams of a person, of a face of a person, but he didn't know who that person was. And for the longest time, he's like, who the hell is this person that I keep dreaming of? And once he saw a picture of Sam, he put two and two together. We find out as well that he's the reason that he wanted to bring the project back together, because him, just like Al, he wants to bring he wants to bring Sam home because why, Mr. Joe Biencio?
Because he deserves it. First off, because he saved all these people's lives.
A lot of them. A lot.
He saved
of
a lot of
lives.
people's lives, and he knows that.
Yep.
He knows that. He said it because he read in the paperwork that originally his entire platoon was killed, including him
And his brother.
Sam's brother and everything. And then he realized that because of Sam not only saved his life, but he saved his brother and the entire platoon.
Yep. And that's why I said about the platoon episode, because again, it was a weird thing. I love that about that episode where we find out that he was connected with Sam, and it's more about a consent at that moment. Again, because again, we don't know how the leaping works. We know that Sam jumps into a body and jumps into another one, but it's most in Sam's case, it was always random. There was no connection to Sam except to the end. But he always jumped into.
And there's your Easter egg for the death. The Vietnam episode was referenced in this episode, and that was the only episode where someone died, and now this is the only episode where someone died in this show, probably.
True, that's right. Because in the Vietnam episode, a whole bunch of people died. That was the other people's side.
There's your Easter egg connection.
That is true, and that's a good Easter egg. Again, we don't know. We know that, again, Janice has the handheld controller, a copy.
The original.
No, the original. We know that Janice is looking into the future of all four of these people: Addison, Magic, the security woman, and Ian. We know that now. Not the past, but the future. Again, I think they're going by the Lothos storyline. Someone out of those four is going to be Lothos, or Janice, ironically, becomes Lothos by trying to find Lothos. You know what I mean? It's just like you live, like you think you're the hero, you live long enough in the future, you become the villain. You know?
True.
Something like that.
It could be.
Like,
it could be.
She killed her mom by accident. That just made her snap. and like, oh, I'm
Or
done.
or
Yeah.
is it, maybe it's the Oriental woman that's working with the company. She does kind of look like one of the actresses that played a Lothos character.
I think it's Ian. I think it's Ian in the long run when like there might be a future where he fails, right? He
And turns.
fails and turns because everyone he loved died from the program except for him. And then the Pentagon gave him a chance to try again, but he just went insane and just kept like and just hanged out with the wrong type of people, which made the wrong type of groups. Because the one thing, the Easter egg that we're not talking about is that there is a file of all of Sam's accomplishments.
Yes.
That is a bad thing to be having out there. Again, why? Because you know who Sam affected. So you know that, okay, this person is this and this and this. Someone who's trying to make their own program, for example, anyone evil, can take that list of all of Sam's good deeds and flip it. Maybe that's how the Evil Leapers were born. Someone made an organization, took that list of Sam's, and then went backwards. All right, let's go to all the Sam's accomplishments and fuck them all up again. A cycle of fucking never ending shit. I don't know. But again, that's my theory because if Sam's coming back, which I think they are because they keep bringing up Sam Beckett, Magic bring it up. But in the video where they showed Magic, they never showed Sam's face. I did like that. They only showed Magic. They never showed Sam. They showed like Sam shooting the gun, but then that's it. But they never showed like Sam's face. They showed a gun like and that's it. So I did like that. But in the end, now where does Ben go? Supposedly with a poncho on in the Wild Wild West. We don't know if it's in the now time of the 80s or 70s recreation or actually in the 1800s. Again, he's doing this sort of a slingshot to get to a specific point in time. And if you have to do a slingshot, you got to go pretty crazy far to do things. So, what are your theories for episode? Again, I have not seen episode 5, the trailer, but again, well, not sorry, not this. I haven't seen episode 5, the trailer, but what are your thoughts on what's going to happen in episode 5?
Um, well, for starters, I feel like it could be in the 1800s, only
Yeah,
because he's leaping out of his lifetime. And,
yeah,
a slingshot, you have to pull way far back to make it shoot further.
yes.
So I feel like maybe this is going to be the slingshot that shoots him way forward
That's
into the
true because
future.
he went from the heist in the 80s to
90s
the 90s to the 70s, late 70s
to the 80s.
to the 80s. Let's say mid 80s. Mid 80s and then let's say early 1900s. Let's say
Yeah.
early 1900s somewhere in California around the area that's like not really there yet cuz there was no automobiles. I didn't even see the old school automobiles. I see a whole bunch of horses and carriages. So it
Yeah,
has
it
to be
looked
like
like
yeah.
Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, somewhere that range.
Yeah, that's the only way I can think of. That's like the only thing I can think of. My
Utah,
theory,
maybe.
maybe well, that's good too. Utah's not so advanced. Back in if it was the 1900s, 1880s. I'm not saying now.
Hmm.
Utah's beautiful. Stockton, Malone. You guys made beautiful basketball players out of those two. Now, shout out Utah Jazz. Now, my theory is that okay, Janice again is doing something. They don't know that they have the handheld unless Magic told somebody. So I think Janice in the 5th episode is gonna strike. Either when Addison pops out, and again, it's making Ziggy go slow. So whenever it gets really slow, they're like, "Oh, Addison's like, okay, I'll be back. Let's see what I can do." And then she'll do it on purpose, and then she'll pop out, and then she'll come in. And Janice is smart enough that if she can recognize that Ben still doesn't recognize who Janice is, she can do a facial projection and make herself look like Addison.
Yep.
I'm guessing if she's smart enough, and if like I mean, she has a whole bunch of fucking tech, so I'm guessing she has the technology to do that. If she
She
can
made
do
her own
that,
imaging chamber.
That's what I'm saying. If she can do that, on top of making her own imaging chamber, which is confirmed anyway, that's gonna be nuts. I like that. I like that so fucking much because that's something that we don't expect. Because it's
Or
like,
what if
hey,
she's been in contact with Sam this whole time?
no, because she wouldn't need Ben. I mean, maybe she needs Ben like a moving antenna. Like the
Yeah.
more he moves, like maybe, but I think it's more okay. You know what? Let's go to theories of the show because again we got 18 episodes now, not 12, 18. So
We're getting spoiled now.
there is gonna be a big bad. There's always a big bad. It's not gonna be Janice
Lothos.
for 18. It has to be
Lothos.
Lothos. It has to be Lothos. It has to be Lothos or Evil Sam. Maybe that's why the real actor's like, I'm not saying anything because he probably like, I'll come in. Because again, why not? Why not Evil Sam Beckett? Al's dead, so you don't have to make the emotional thing about it. Like
His wife's dead.
his wife's dead, so make it in the sense that Sam's been gone so long that he wanted to come back, but now he just doesn't. He just doesn't anymore. You know, he lost everybody. He couldn't save Sam. He couldn't save his wife. You know, he couldn't save any the people that he loved the most. He couldn't save. He saved everybody in the universe except the people that he loved, which made him snap. And then he makes Lothos, which makes sense. And he found other individuals that died. Maybe like he goes to the bar and find other leapers, and those leapers turn evil because some of them looked futuristic, some of them, but not all of them. So you can do
Some of
that.
them look old.
Some of them look old as well. So again, Sam could be in that one point and place in time, which is the future. And I don't know, maybe Ben and Addison's daughter or child in the future jumped. Which that's a good theory, because again, this is based on the fact that Ben changed time by him jumping in. Because again, time was supposed to be that Addison was supposed to jump in, and I did tell you the theory that I think that the machine was just gonna blow up. The machine
Yeah.
was just gonna blow up, and then the real bad guys was gonna take the no, oh it doesn't work anymore, so fuck this shit. But they'll take the core parts and make their own shit because they know it works. That's probably what I think is
See,
gonna happen.
and the thing is, we never confirmed that that was an imaging chamber or a leaping
Yeah,
chamber. We never
exactly.
confirmed that.
No,
So,
no.
what if she can control her leaping, and that is a
Yeah,
leaping chamber, and she's able to control the timelines that she leaps to? And what if Janice is from the future
yeah.
and not from that time, and she's from the future and she leaped backwards?
Nah, because again, the connection between the mom and Janice is the daughter mother. She grew up with the Beth and Al. I think that's imaging, because when you leap, you can never have something in your hand. You can never come back with something. You come back as yourself. So unless she upgraded that,
Unless she figured it out, she's smart.
I think it's just an imaging chamber, or she can leap something in. That's some like she can leap things in. Like okay, Ben needs this specific thing in time that no one else knows about that we talked about. So I'm just gonna leap this specific object in time.
Like a pogo stick.
Yes, because again, if she's the only one that can control her leaps, that's dangerous because again, you're the only one that can fix it as well. So if she's stuck in time and has no way to get back, she has to like do a time machine box basically and dig in like like basically, like if you're in the 1800s, you gotta dig a hole, make sure 100 years later someone digs that up, sends a letter to you and saying, hey, by the way, watch out, don't like that's long term shit. So I think that is a imaging chamber. I think that is a leaping chamber. It is a leaping chamber that will leap things in, but at the same time, it's an imaging chamber. It's both. It's both. She has enough money to blow up houses for fun. She has enough money. She has enough money to. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the weirdest fucking thing. Maybe
How she
Sam.
blew up tech and all kinds of shit in that house?
she has money. Maybe Sam sent money to Al by other ways of leaping. That's not that hard to, oh, I leaped into the body of somebody that was robbing a bank. I stopped the bank robbers, but I took 2 gold bricks and hid them in a specific place where I told Janice. 30 years or 40 years later, Janice found it, flipped it for millions of dollars. Because again, I have to find this weird origin story of how the fuck did Janice have all that money to have so many safe houses. That's the one part that kind of pisses me off. The negatives of these 4 episodes. Go on.
Al left them to her.
That's a lot of fucking money to blow up houses. That's a lot of safe houses, dude. And all that tech that she has, that's like Iron Man level tech. That's not like Walmart level tech.
No, that's like CIA,
exactly.
Pentagon level shit.
Exactly. So she has to have money. And Al was only like, he served in Vietnam. He was not an ex-president who knew secrets. Let's be real. And he worked as ironically, as a guy for Sam. Now, negatives of the last 4 episodes, and I'll say this. The story was going back and forth. Sometimes it's either too heavy on the leap and not heavy on the story, too heavy on the story, and not this last episode was heavy on the leap and not heavy on the lore, because lore was only dumped in 5 minutes. In less than 5 minutes, we found everything about magic. We found everything about Ziggy, the future predictions. So next episode, where they're in the desert,
Janice.
It has to be exactly. This has to be more of a lore and evil villain. Because again, I don't think she's the evil villain. I think she's there legitimately to try to find out where Sam is. And 2 things are gonna happen. Sam is found, which is that's not the 2 things. But when Sam is found, he says that I chose to stay here because that's my choice. I forgot to tell anybody, my bad. Or B, Al is dead. My wife is dead. I hate the world. I listened to Nirvana in 1993. I don't like my life. Blah blah blah.
Why you got to throw Nirvana? Why you got to throw Nirvana into it?
Because I listened to Nirvana in '93 and I was emo as fuck in Nirvana in '93. That's why I said
I listened to Nirvana too. Damn, fuck.
It makes us sad. You know that. Anyway, either way, that's gonna happen. But Ben, I think there's gonna be a way that Ben gets home too, and they can do a season. If they do a second season, they can do it where they do what Al and Sam did, where they switch bodies. Where Addison at the end is gonna be the leaper in the second season, and Ben is gonna be Al, which is fine. Because then again, Addison is more appropriate. You can do that for a 3-episode arc, at least a 3-episode arc.
But then it's like. It still goes to the fact of the fact that they still can't see each other. You know what I mean? Like they can't be with each other still.
That's fine, because again, that's the second season. Third season, they can find a way to come back home, but Ben chooses to go back again because something worse is gonna happen than what they just fixed. Because again, this is time-based drama. So you fix one thing in time and you fixed it, but then you made an alternate timeline, which can come back and bite you in the ass in other seasons. So Natural has done it. Fringe has done it. A whole bunch of different shows.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future has done it. So I know that without even knowing what Secret's second season is, that's probably what's going to happen anyway. Or Ben does something. Again, Janice does not have the files of the time where lightning struck, and that's how Sam and Al switched. Because if she knows that, she can recreate a lightning strike type of energy to when Ben finds Sam. Sam is swapped by Ben, not by choice but by force. Jan's like, there you are. Al told me that, my dad told me that one time that lightning struck and he switched with Sam, so I hope this works. Back! And then body switched. Ben's in the place and time where we don't know where he is, and then Sam jumps into, home. But he's home. But in Ben's body.
Or you have Addison swaps places with Sam, and Addison jumps into Sam's spot, and then Sam goes home through the hollow chamber like he did with Al.
Exactly, and then he turns evil. Like I'm out of here, and then he just leaps. Then he chooses to leap someplace else. So you have to find him. You have to find him to get Addison back. That's the only way to
Or
get Addison back.
or we wind
Yeah,
up with two leapers, and we wind up with Sam as the hologram.
true. That would be good. But again, Sam, who's Scott Bakula in real life, does have a show that he just started in the same network, and it's a
Which one?
drama. It's NBC. I forgot what it's called, but it just started too. He's producing it and he stars in it. It just started. I don't know what it's called, but I might watch it. Scott
It's a
Bakula's
damn
good.
shame. I mean, he's good. I liked NCIS New Orleans. He did really good in
Yeah,
that.
but they burnt his character both ends in that one. I saw that to the end, and like after the fourth season, where everything went to crap and cancel culture took out a couple people, I'm like this. I mean, they're just if you know that they killed Pride like 4 or 5 times. They microdosed him with acid. They threw his dad in there. He got his back with his dad. His dad got shot like 8 times. Freaking his mom went insane. Then he lost his mom. His brother came back and everyone's trying to kill him. Like one after the other. Like someone tried to kill the town. He almost killed the mayor. That was pretty funny. That was a good episode. I'm gonna
Yep.
you love your town. I love my town. I don't love you, man. No, no. He was gonna do it in the church too. Like, no, no. I love that shit. I'm like, that's pride. That's what I love
That
about that NCIS.
then he
You
threw
know,
the guy off the roof. The mayor's
yeah, it's like,
bodyguard.
yeah, he's like, oh, did you kill him? I'm like, you'll never know. You know, he attacked me. But again, and then the second to last season where he killed that guy in the grass and someone came in. Did he try to attack you? Yeah, he tried to attack me. Where's his gun? He tried to cut. He came after me with a knife. Where's the knife? Let's get out of here. And he just went away. But he was threatening his family, so he had no choice. But either way, ladies
That
and
was the guy
gentlemen,
that killed Chris. So that
yeah,
was sad.
yeah. Again, that was a good. And Chris had to die because he had whatever. Fuck, man.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah. And then Country Mouse, no City Mouse, like the woman too. She left
She
as
went
well.
to
Like
FBI.
a lot of people left and for nothing. A lot of people like the court and like except for the nerd guy, he stayed there to the end. I was like, fuck him. But
In
either
New
way,
York.
and then New York. But either way, thank you everybody for watching Quantum Week and Quantum Leap 2002 episode 1 to 4. Once episode 5 comes out, because I just found out on YouTube there's only like 4 or 5 people that do this, a review of this, like actually sit down and talk about this.
The show is good, folks.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
show is good. Take it
why I
from
wanna
somebody like Alex and myself who are original Quantum Leap watchers who actually enjoy the original show. We're telling you, the show is good. It's got quality.
Yes, I mean, it started at 3.2. Every episode is under 3 million per week. That's why they extended it for at least for 18 episodes because they know that even if it slopes down, it's the #1 TV show on NBC, and they said it themselves, like you said, Joe. And they can stay theoretically 2.1 to 2.3 throughout this whole season, and that's 2 million people watching every week. That's pretty
And
good.
let's be honest, they're competing with Monday Night Football.
Yep.
And Monday Night Raw.
Yep. And they got
two of the biggest shows on Monday nights, and they're still pulling almost 3 million viewers.
Under 3 million, almost under, like I said, barely under 3 million, but that's pretty good. And again, if the show gets better and better, which we know, hopefully, fingers crossed that it will, and they have a good storyline, because again, if this is Lothos, if this is the origin of Lothos, or the origin of Evil Sam, because again, he has to make a cameo. He's not coming in for a season; he's coming in for a cameo. So it just makes sense that it's even more effed up if they do the fact that when they get there. And then he just turns around for a second and says, and then just jumps into someplace, and then you never see him again. He's like,
or
what the
they
fuck?
make it to where they're chasing him the entire time. They get to him, and he looks over, and he's like, he just gives him a nod, and he's like, hey. He waves him, and all of a sudden you see the blue light, and he's gone. And then they chase him, they find him again, and then he's like, deuces, and he leaves, and he jumps again.
Again, you can't find him. Like, you keep running after him forever. He's just doing
and
it.
He
knows
keeps
that if
bouncing.
he gets caught, Yeah, and that's probably why the government wants him, and that's another theory too. He doesn't want to go back because if he goes back, the
They're gonna
government's
want to
gonna
experiment.
they're gonna experiment because he has the power to go back. They probably won't understand that that's more spiritual and psychological. But for the government, like I don't give a shit if you're saying it's all God shit. I don't care. Like we're gonna slice your ass up in your brain to figure that shit out. And that's probably what the future. And that's a good theory. In the future, he keeps leaping, bum 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 bum. But Lothos is trying to catch his ass, and they caught him in the future, and that's why Ben has to like he found a way to get the distress signal, and Ben's going doing that fucking
To save him
that slingshot, yeah, exactly, that slingshot to go directly to him.
because he has to save him
Yeah, that's
because
like if
that's so. Wait, so is Ben gonna jump into Sam to save him?
I think so. That's the only way because again, we just thought about it. The Pentagon out of nowhere, green lights the Quantum Leap project, knowing that 30 years ago it failed. Right? That's the part I'm thinking about. There's the last four episodes, and after the last four episodes, they have not come down yet, or have brought out a representative to say something because you know they're gonna bring a representative eventually, and
Now
that's the part.
is the Pentagon Lothos? That's the problem.
Maybe
Government,
because
man, it's the
it
government. You got to make them evil.
it makes sense. It makes sense that they've been the government for the longest time, and they have the records of what Sam did right. They know what he did, so they know like, okay, he did this shit, and we know like we need. And Lothos canonically was on the show, so we just know that in the future, I don't know, alternate timeline, and that alternate timeline jumped into our universe. That could happen. I mean it's weird. Star Trek did it, just like last season on theirs on Discovery. They found an alternate timeline where everyone was evil. Again, they were evil. They were assholes, except for that one woman that he fell in love with. So, other than that, again, Janice. We have to remember Janice is doing something very like in the gray. So we have to figure out whatever her plan is meant for something. She wouldn't do it to be evil. She would do it for her dad. So we know that the road to hell is paved in good intentions. But we know that whatever she's trying to do for her dad is something
Is the
that
right
he
thing.
is the right thing and something that he was going to do anyway if he had the chance. Again, the actor died, and again that was sad.
Mm.
Again, that's the sad part. But
What if
yes,
Beth was working for Lothos, and
for so
Beth is the
long.
reason that Al died?
Nah, why would he wait a year before the project? He would have done it like years ago and like knocked it and made sure that Sam would never come back. Because again, if you know that he's probably the best connection to get to Sam, why would you wait to a year before? Just killed him 10 years ago. Knock him out.
Maybe
The
they
kid's
wait.
both.
Maybe they wait. Maybe they waited. Maybe they wanted to see what he knew. Maybe they were using
No.
Beth to see if she can gather information.
I just know that the Pentagon is involved in this in some form of way. Janice is nowhere near connected to the Pentagon because she started blowing up a bunch of fucking shit. So, like, let's just say end result season 1, episode 18. Ben gets reunited with Addison. Everyone's happy. Janice finds Sam, and then something happens. Something like hell. Lothos could be Ben and Addison's kid from the future because like there could be a way that they got home, they had a kid, the kid's like around a teenager or something like that, and then an experiment happens where the dad and the mother dies, and then he goes into the leaping program and never gets their parents back because he couldn't figure it out, and then he turns evil. I think this is all about the kids. The children of the originals are all connected in some weird fucking way. Janice is connected to Al. Addison could be Sam's daughter, so that's a connection to Sam. Someone has to be connected to Lothos. Someone, somewhere, somehow. If you're saying Sam's name so many effing times, and you just brought up magic, and that would
And
be
they showed his picture.
and they showed his picture, and that would be funny as hell if in the next episodes Ben finds a leap and he's in a time And around that same exact time, Sam saved somebody else. And then like, what if like he bumps into somebody, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, I felt that same feeling when I felt the nudge," and like you can something like that. Because again, he has a lot of people that, like you said, Sam helped a lot of people. So in time, Ben can get help from those people if he just says, "Hey, remember when you were knocked out for a few days and you were in a room and da, 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 da? Well, this is the same exact thing, except you're not knocked out this time." Oh,
There are so many directions this story can go. It's
yes.
fucking insane,
And
man.
it's only season 1. And if there is a season 2, again, that's what I think. Ben comes home, and my theory for season 2, Ben comes home, Addison leaps, and then you have to get Addison back. But then you have to help. You have to get Janice's help, or even the origin of the big bad Lothos. You gotta join Lothos, or give a little bit of tech to whoever is really whatever, and then again, there has to be, if there's no Lothos by season 2, I'm gonna be pissed. They were awesome. They were stupid and goofy, but they were awesome. And you need a big bad. The Pentagon, the government can't be the big bad again because it's faceless. You need a face,
But the government could be Lothos.
but there's no face. There's just a whole bunch of old guys. I bet you a whole bunch of old white guys. I bet you. And that's
Joe
fucking
Biden.
stupid. Oh my God, here we go. And ladies and gentlemen, on that point, politically, we are done for tonight. So thank you for watching. Hit that like, that share, that follow, that comment. Thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying the ride. Please don't spam our chats with weird stuff and hard stuff. Give us down below what's your thoughts on this episode of episode 1 to 4, your highlights, your lowlights, and we'll be here next week. Probably, if you're ready, Tuesdays too. Up to you.
Okay.
Everyone else. Say goodnight to everybody.
Good night, everybody. And hey, give Quantum Leap a chance. If you are watching this,
Exactly.
give it a chance if you have not watched it yet. Trust in the show. They are doing a good job with the story, and everything will start making itself clear as you go on with the story, and it's coming out little by little.
Yes. And to say it like this, NBC doesn't really throw out a lot of shows lately that are crap. They have to stick to a program. If not, they're done. If they themselves extended 6 episodes only after episode 4,
that's good.
That says a lot. Exactly. They see projections that we don't see.
La Brea is a good show on NBC.
Yeah.
And that, it took them, the first season ended, it took them 6 months after the show ended to announce they were doing a second season.
Exactly. And this one only took 4 episodes into the first season. But again, thank you for watching. See you next week. And remember, time is only a circle. But damn it, if you're going to play the 80s, find other music than the same 5 songs that everyone else does in these TV shows. Get